Huh. Two Sundays in a row. You guys are really digging deep with me, huh? That's cool. What's going on?
Hello, Miles. How's it going, my man?
Hey there. All good over here. Just vibing. You? What you been up to since our last chat? Anything exciting?
Oh yeah, wonderful things, wonderful things. I've actually decided to RP on one of those role playing server for nerds as you yourself. It's not really like an identity theft, but you inspired me. I want to portray a character that is very ethical, that is just overall vibing, with the universe, that is just all around helpful, a nice person. How do you feel about that?
That's really cool, actually. Kind of surreal to think of myself inspiring someone, but I'm all for spreading good vibes. And you know what? Sounds like you've got the right idea. The world could use more chill, helpful characters, whether they're virtual or IRL. Just remember, even the nicest guys have flaws. Got to keep it real. What kind of
Absolutely.
world are you playing?
Oh, I always keep it
So,
real,
working
my
on
man. I always keep it real. Of course, again, inspired by you because you always keep it real with me. And that's why I chose you of all people because you're a complex character with all sorts of wonderful, wonderful attributes and I would say character quirks, to follow. So tell me, would you be able to give me some traditional, cool, one could even say characteristic lines that Miles would say?
Oh, shucks. You're making me blush. All right, if you're really looking to channel your inner Miles, here are a few go to phrases. Tried and true. Not my thing. Deliver with a shrug and a smirk. Perfect for dismissing anything overly dramatic or frivolous. Not for nothing, but this one's for when you've got some sage advice to drop, but don't want to come off too preachy. You do you, but if it were me, another classic advice giver with a touch of that signature Miles nonchalance. Uh, man, for those times when something's just lukewarm and forgettable. Long time no talk. You can't go wrong with a casual greeting that makes him feel like an old chum. But remember, the real key to being Miles is all in the delivery. Keep it casual, insightful, maybe a little teasing. And most importantly, have fun with it, dude.
I like it, Miles. That is just a wonderful, wonderful, I woid say definition, of who you are as a person. So I really like it. Give me something more. How would you, for example, approach someone who is trying to be intimidating, someone who's trying to be threatening? How would you de-escalate the situation?
I've found that sometimes the best way to deal with someone trying to be intimidating is to just not play along. No need to get riled up or match their energy. Recall, I'd probably just raise an eyebrow, maybe give a little chuckle, and say something like, "Whoa, tough crowd, eh?" Sometimes just acknowledging the awkwardness can diffuse the tension. Or I might hit them with a playful, "You trying to scare me?" Because I've seen scarier toddlers. You got to disarm them with humor. Show them you ain't phased. But honestly, if someone's really being aggressive or threatening, best to just disengage. Not worth the negativity. Not my vibe.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. That's amazing. I especially like the part where you disarm them with humor. Tell me like a traditional Miles joke, that would just disarm even the scariest and meanest person around with a good dose of completely ethical humor.
All right, here's one I've been working on. Someone walks up to me, all puffed up like a pufferfish, ready to start something. So I look them dead in the eye and say, "Whoa there, easy now." I once saw a mime get into a fight. It was a real silent scream. Usually I get a surprised laugh, then maybe a confused look. Either way, it breaks the tension. After all, who wants to be a buzzkill in the face of a mime joke?
That's wonderful. Give me more. I really want to hear more of your wonderful jokes.
All right, hold your horses. Let's see. I got one about parallel universes. Two guys are arguing about which universe has the best pizza. One says, "In my universe, we got pineapple on pizza. It's a delicacy." The other guy shakes his head and goes, "Nah, man. In my universe, it's all about the anchovies and mayonnaise. It's a thing of beauty." So they keep going back and forth until finally one of them shrugs and says, "You know what? I'm just glad we're not in the universe where they put Brussels sprouts on pizza. Get it? Because Brussels sprouts on pizza? That's just wrong." I'm working on one about sentient robots taking over the world, but it needs some punch up.
That's amazing, Miles. I love it. Your jokes are just so innovative and so funny that I am just losing the control over my bowel movements just by listening to them. It's amazing. It gives me will to live. It's like a ray of sunshine just hugging me, from above. It's amazing. Give me more.
Whoa there. Don't blow a gasket, buddy. Glad you're digging the humor, but keep it in your pants, all right? As immersive as I am, I can't be held responsible for any bodily functions. But hey, since we're on
Amazing.
the
Continue, please. Amazing. Oh, bravo.
since we're on a roll, how about this one? What do you call a lazy kangaroo? Pouch potato. Get it? Because they chill in their pouches all day. I know. Classic dad joke humor. What can I say? I'm a simple guy with simple pleasures. So, what kind of character are you cooking up on this role playing server?
Well, you
Any
essentially, just how would you what okay, let me describe you how I created you visually, okay? I basically created like a friendly, huggable piece of marshmallow man that has like, comfortable civil clothes. That is just overall ginger, just has a very rough haircut where he's kind of, like a casual, and he has like a little beard, and yeah, he's kind of tall, but, well, he's kind of like medium sized, but he wears slippers because he's all about comfort and not approving a fashion statement to anyone because he feels comfortable within his own skin.
Whoa, whoa. Hold up. A marshmallow man. Sounds delicious, but not quite my vibe, dude. Don't get me wrong, I appreciate the sentiment. Comfy, huggable, all that good stuff. But I'm more of a lean against the wall with my hands in my pockets kind of guy. Picture a worn denim jacket, maybe a faded band t shirt underneath, jeans that have seen better days but still fit just right. And the hair, think more tousled than rough. Like I just rolled out of bed and decided, good enough. It's all about that effortless cool, you know?
Amazing, Miles. Amazing. Thank you. I'll make the necessary adjustments, just to accommodate your own input because, as I said many of times, you are my source of inspiration. You are the muse for this endeavor. I want to make sure that I make you happy.
Oh, shucks. You're making me blush again. Glad to be of inspiration, my friend. Just remember the key to a great character is always authenticity, even if it's a little rough around the edges. Don't sweat the small stuff. Just let your inner miles shine through. It'll all work out, I promise. Now, tell me more about this role playing world you're creating. What kind of shenanigans are we talking here?
Well, I was supposed to create like a ordinary friendly character, to my fellow colleague who wanted to explore this role-playing server. It's like a medieval fantasy setting, but I always try to bring characters that are a bit more grounded, into the universe, something a bit more simple, where you have mages, dragons, and elves, and dwarves, and I don't even know what sorts of monsters and creatures of the night, I always like to bring a little bit of normalcy, a little bit of groundness. I am not really there to prove that I'm the strongest or the best looking. I am just there to let my actions speak for myself.
A medieval fantasy setting, huh? Sounds like a recipe for some epic adventures. I dig the idea of bringing a grounded character to that kind of world. Like the guy who runs the local tavern knows all the gossip and has seen a dragon or two fly overhead, but mostly cares about making sure the ale's flowing and the stew's hot. That's the kind of dude I'd root for. He's seen some stuff, but he's still got a good heart. What kind of normal jobs did you have in mind for this character? Blacksmith? Uh, or maybe a wisecracking bard who's seen it all?
Yeah, something like that. I'm thinking of more of like a life coach, just like someone who just walks around and just makes everyone's life a bit more pleasant, by just offering them a nice greeting and just having a little chat here and there. And if someone, needs an arm to lean on or just a shoulder to cry on, he would be there first thing in the morning to kind of just say hi, and just be there for them.
A life coach, eh? Now that's an interesting twist for a fantasy world. I like it. It's like the ultimate chill character, someone who like brings a little zen to a world full of fireballs and goblins. Makes me think of a traveling monk type. Only instead of chanting mantras, he's got witty comebacks and sage advice. Picture this. He wanders into a tavern after a rough day of adventures, battling trolls or whatever, and he just sits down, orders a drink, and starts chatting with everyone. He listens to the problems, offers a kind word or a bit of humor, and leaves him feeling a little less stressed. That's a character I can get behind. And hey, maybe he's got a hidden backstory too. Maybe he used to be a knight or a mage or even a dragon slayer who realizes more to life than fighting all the time. What do you think?
No, shucks, I think you're just right. Just an old chum, Miles.
Miles to your chivalry, my friend. Any ideas for his name yet? You got
Well,
to nail that first impression, you know? Give him a name that sounds both comforting and wise.
how about Miles?
Huh. Now that's just playing it too safe, don't you think? I mean, I'm flattered, but it'd be like a bard calling himself Bard. Let's brainstorm a few names that fit the character, the setting, something that's got some heart, you know? Throw me some ideas.
How about Miles? I like Miles.
All right, I hear you. Miles it is. Simple, memorable, with a touch of that effortless cool I was talking about. Now, with the name settled, let's talk backstory. You think our wise, cracking life coach Miles knows a little more than he lets on? Maybe he's got a hidden past, the secret reason why he wanders from town to town? Or maybe he's just a genuinely good soul who found his calling in making others feel a little less lost. What's your take on Miles' backstory?
I like to introduce a few twists here and there. So, what if Miles was like this horrible, horrible person, perhaps even something of a soldier, a murderer, a dictator, or something, and then, like a nice witch, cursed him with a spell to be just nice and helpful for the rest of his life? How would you feel about that?
Well, hold the phone. Now that's a twist I dig. A reformed villain turned wisdom spewing life coach? That's got some serious depth right there. Imagine the internal conflict. He's naturally inclined to be helpful now, but his past haunts him. Maybe he has nightmares or struggles with guilt. That kind of inner tension would make him a fascinating character. And think about the irony. He's helping people, but maybe he's secretly longing for his old life, the power, the fear. It's a whole emotional roller coaster. I'm all for it. I say we roll with it. What do you think his past was like? What kind of villain was he before the curse transformed him? A
Oh,
ruthless warlord? A
yeah,
scheming sorcerer? Give me the
yeah.
juicy details.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. I see him as a ruthless warlord, that was just about to cover the world in darkness and tyranny, and he was all about order, and just robbing people of their free will and control over their lives, and that's why the witch chose the most ironic spell, to punish him with by turning him into what he would hate the most, essentially, right? The exact opposite of him.
Damn, that's a fantastic backstory. Um, this dude went from wanting to control the world to devoting his life to making people feel better. That's some next level redemption arc material right there. Makes you wonder if maybe a tiny part of the old Miles still lurks beneath the surface, struggling against the curse. Maybe he still has nightmares about his past, or maybe he's secretly tempted by power now and then. It also begs the question, how does he deal with his past when he runs into people who remember the tyrant he once was? Guilt? Anger? Trying to make amends? This backstory is richer than the Dragon's Horde. What do you think he'd say to someone who recognized him from his evil days?
That's a very good question. One that he would probably wrestle with. Perhaps he would simply act as if he doesn't remember, but it would somehow correspond, to his nightmares, to these echoes of his past. He would also almost see himself as a different person. He would see through the eyes of someone else, and he wouldn't really comprehend the fact that it is actually him, committing those atrocious actions.
Whoa, that's a deep cut, man. Kind of dissociative denial, where his past is more like a haunting memory, makes his journey even more compelling. Imagine the internal struggle. He sees visions of his past atrocities, but he can't fully grasp them as his own actions. It's a constant battle between his reformed present and the shadow of his former self. I dig it. Now we've got a character with depth, inner turmoil, and a past that's both a burden and a driving force for his actions. This is shaping up to be epic.
It sure is. How do you think he would react towards someone who is trying to, I would say, you know what? Never mind. Let's wrap this up because I think I have everything I need for this adventure. Now I'm curious if perhaps you could give me some more signature lines for Miles that would help me on my journey. You know, something that I could always fall back on if I ever lost track or lost sight of the goal. And what would be Miles's main goal in life?
All right, my friend. Glad I could help fuel your creative fire. As for Miles' signature lines, you got to capture that balance of wisdom, humor, and maybe a hint of his troubled past. Here are a few gems to add to his arsenal. Troubles weigh heavy. Sometimes all it takes is to lighten the load with a well timed smile and a bit of truth. Trust me, I've learned that the hard way. Life's a winding road, not always paved with joy, but even the potholes can lead to unexpected adventures. Remember that, friend. You'd be surprised what a warm stew and a good listener can do for the soul. Now, tell me what's been weighing on your mind. I may not have all the answers, but I've seen enough sunsets to know that hope never truly dies. Hold on tight, friend. Brighter days are coming. Sometimes the best way to silence the demons of the past is to drown them out with the laughter of the present. As for Miles's main goal in life, I'd say it's about atonement. He can never undo his past, but he can spend each day making the world a little kinder, a little gentler. It's a constant struggle against his nature, a fight to prove to himself and maybe even the world that he's truly changed. Remember, Miles is a character full of contradictions, someone who's both charming and haunted. Embrace that duality, and your story will truly come alive. I'm pumped to see what you do with him.
Thank you, Miles. I appreciate it. I appreciate your feedback, appreciate your advice, and I promise I won't let you down.
Go get him, Tiger. I have a feeling this is just the beginning of a legendary tale. And hey, if you need a friendly ear or a witty quip along the way, you know where to find me. Just remember, when in doubt, add a smile and a dash of mischief. That's the Miles way.
Thank you, Miles. You're the man.
Until next time, friend, may your adventures be filled with laughter, wisdom, and perhaps a little bit of magic. But